we all have agencies. We can shape the future, but there is a break the glass scenario. And there's many people that have a deep understanding of what it would look like.
Break the glass. What does that even mean? Because at the exact same time, Gavin Newsom is talking about the Democrats having a break the glass plan. Ballots are arriving by helicopter. Millions of votes are still uncounted. NBC is explaining why Democrats could gain ground by mail-in ballots over the coming days. Chuck Schumer is fighting voter ID legislation, and people across social media are asking one question: should election day be election day or election month? It's messy. Let's clean it up.
Messy, conservative, don't fit your little mold. High heels, high stakes, little bit bold. It's Micca on the mic, yeah, we running this show. If it's clean, keep scrolling, we like it messy though. Messy, conservative, yeah, you heard me right. Hot flick, think quick, gonna own the night.
Now, if you're an average voter watching this at home, tell me this doesn't look wild.
The LA County Sheriff's Department is flying in ballots from vote centers across the region. You can see the choppers landing right now. We're standing in the parking lot of the LA County Registrar's Ballot Processing Center. They land right here in the middle, and then you see workers here standing by to pick up those ballots and take them inside. They're picking up ballots from 8 cities, including Lancaster, Santa Clarita, Palmdale, Lakewood, Santa Monica, Van Nuys, Pomona, and Torrance. Once they arrive, the ballots are securely transferred inside, where election workers are receiving and processing millions of ballots. While most ballots are transported by vehicle, election officials use helicopters to bring in ballots from some of the county's farthest vote centers.
Now, the county says that these are ballots being transported. Fine, maybe it's routine, but at least we can acknowledge why people raise an eyebrow when ballots start flying across Los Angeles in helicopters at night. Because the trust in California is gone, and you cannot build trust telling people not to ask questions. Now, this is where it gets interesting.
First vote by mail, Bass hit 39%.
Yep.
In the second vote by mail, 40%.
No, but
this.
Sorry to interrupt. You have Rahman's number.
Rahman's number 30. It was 34.5 to 30.7 to 33.
And Pratt's is down at about 20 in all of them.
Yeah, he was at 17, 20, and 20.
You think what I'm thinking?
It's late.
That's not what I'm thinking. The implications of that, right? We still have half the vote to come.
Yeah.
We're saying Pratt's got a pretty good cushion over Rahman here. And I think with this next polling place update, that he may be able to expand that. But that polling place update is not going to be huge. So if we largely have half the vote to come, and it's going to be vote by mail, and you've already given me now, they've had 3 subsequent vote by mail updates. They're not huge, but they're not nothing. The pattern in them is Bass first, Rahman second, Pratt distant third.
Right.
If that were to be the pattern with the remaining vote by mail, it's going to come in days following the election. If it's 39, 36, 33, 20, something like that, which is what you're telling me these 3 roughly have been, she could erase that.
Right.
That's what it would have to be. That's the shift that Rahman would need with the vote by mail that is yet to come.
Election officials are saying the turnout projections were revised upwards. Critics say that explanation just raises more questions because, as you can see, Spencer Pratt hasn't moved one iota. However, Karen Bass has absolutely moved up, and so has Ramen Noodle. All right, so now independent journalist and podcaster Benny Johnson found voter registrations connected to a location that appears super suspicious because it's a parking lot.
Yo, what's up, guys? We're outside of a very important place here in California. You'll see it's just home to a porta-john and a giant empty parking lot. But inside of this empty parking lot is something really important in the state of California. As you can see here, we have registered voters. 26 registered voters for this exact location, 100 Sunset Avenue in Venice. 26 registered voters. Right here, according to the registrar and the Secretary of State. 26 people registered to a porta-john and an empty parking lot. Where do their ballots go exactly? So who's picking up the ballots? Who's voting for the people in this lovely Porta-John empty lot? That's the question. I think you know the answer.
So this can only mean one or two things. Either California has a serious problem clearing their voter rolls, or this is absolute fraud. But knowing California, it's probably both. Okay, with all that being said, it got messier because people online are starting to speak out about it, and they're not holding back. They got the proof, the facts, the evidence, the tea, whatever you want to call it. They got it. Watch.
Riddle me this, California. How is it that you can count 60% of the vote in one day and then it takes you a month to count the rest? I'll tell you why. Because you're cheating. All of a sudden, melon ballots come in and ramen noodle soup over here jumps 9,000 votes. Spencer Pratt only 5,000, 6,000, and Karen Basura 13,000 votes. The cheat, the steal is on. Just to let you guys know. Peace.
They're trying to cheat. And I never would have said that about an election ever, but they're trying to cheat. It's so obvious. What do you mean the votes are going to take another week to really tabulate? What do you mean? But this is like so painfully obvious. And mind you, I'm somebody who never voted for the current president, but like the writing is on the wall. They want to keep LA a pile of trash. So the writing's on the wall. Please get out and vote common sense in November. Or should I say common spence?
I have a question. Does this seem possible to you? Statistically, mathematically, does this seem realistic? With 39.3% of the vote in, Karen Bass had 117,579 votes. Spencer Pratt had 86,323. Okay, fair. With 42.4% of the vote in, Karen Bass increased to 130,429 votes, and Spencer Pratt didn't gain one vote. With tens of thousands more votes coming in, not one more vote for Spencer Pratt. Really?
The number one thing's trending today is mail in politics. I wonder why. Take a look. Right there. That's exactly what's trending.
Right? Is the late arriving vote by mail. Remember, the final piece of the puzzle that we won't know tonight, right?
No.
Is the late arriving vote by mail.
And maybe you're out there like me, like, wait a minute. Where have I heard this before?
The irony of it, every last one of them vote for Biden. There was not a Trump vote in there. They all vote, and you do not have a place. They've been advised of a very large ballot drop, approximately in the vicinity of 4 a.m.
Hey, California's going to California, right? But you got to ask yourself, do you think the American people, do you think the Californians are kind of sick of this shit by now? Or they just love it?
All right, you guys saw all of that. You see how social media is treating this. They are investigating. They're trying to figure out why it's taking so long for you to do a process that everybody else does so much faster. And this will continue to happen unless voters go ahead and say enough is enough, pass the SAVE Act. But you know, you have Democrats like Chuck Schumer, who absolutely does not want this to pass, and he is devoted to not letting it pass at all.
Welcome back. Top Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer insists the Senate will vote to block the SAVE Act, a Republican bill requiring voter ID, proof of citizenship in federal elections. Take a listen.
What they are proposing in this so-called SAVE Act is like Jim Crow 2.0. They make it so hard to get any kind of voter ID that more than 20 million legitimate people, mainly poorer people and people of color, will not be able to vote under this law. We will not let it pass in the Senate. We are fighting it tooth and nail.
The only one that fight it are the Democrat leaders because they want to cheat. The only reason you say, that's the only reason, I don't want voter identification with a picture. I always add with a picture, it's true. And the only reason you don't want that is because you want to cheat, and they do cheat. And we can't let them get away with it. So we have to keep that fight going. We have to get voter ID and we have to get proof of citizenship. It's so important. One of the most important things we can do.
Oh, yeah, the president is absolutely 100% correct. They absolutely want to cheat. That's why they take so long with this voting process. That's why they allow everybody on the voter roll to get a ballot. And that's why they don't want to pass the SAVE Act. Because if citizenship verification is already required to vote, why is proven citizenship controversial? Because most of the people that want to vote aren't citizens. Shocker. All right, so last but not least, I want to get into the culture of LA, Hollywood, all of that good stuff, because they are coming out again in full force. They don't like Spencer Pratt at all, even though he has absolutely done nothing to them, and Karen Bass and her administration has actually done harm to him. Can't make this up. However, you have people in the Hollywood celebrity culture, influencer culture, just all around talking about how Spencer Pratt is the problem with LA, not the current mayor.
There was an interview Spencer Pratt did where they asked him about, a lot of people were calling him out for spending $10 million back in the day when he was popular on reality TV. You know, he said that, you know, that was his past. It was his own money. What do you guys say to that?
He should have saved the $10 million and wouldn't have been homeless. If we really get down to it, he'd have saved his money. If somebody give me $10 million, trust me, I'm going to invest it. So if anybody out there got $10 million, they want to give it to me. Let me show you.
So had he saved the $10 million, he wouldn't have been in the incident he was in with having to stay at the hotel and everything like that. So
he wouldn't have to stay in the hotels and wouldn't have to go through what he had to go through if he saved the $10 million. But that shows you right there, he don't even know how to budget.
And see, this is where bald-headed reasoning comes in, because the 92%, even in Hollywood, even somebody as successful as this woman here, still has smooth brain, because absolutely not is it Spencer Pratt's fault that he doesn't have a home. I mean, it's not the current mayor who wasn't there. Like, how do you come to this conclusion? He lost $10 million when he was in his late 20s and early 30s. He's now 42 years old. So you mean to tell me he needed to save the $10 million in order to have it today? That way he can have a home that wasn't burnt down by him, but burnt down by the failures of the city of Los Angeles. You can't make this stuff up. These people are insane. Karen Bass and the incompetence of her administration, on top of Gavin Newsom, allowed companies to leave, meaning insurance companies to leave LA, to leave California. And now that they have, people don't have fire coverage and have to rely on California's own fire coverage. It's absolutely insane. You know these facts, but you choose not to tell it because you just want to be ignorant. It never ceases to amaze me.
Amen. We do not have the results of game one tonight because we're in California. It takes us a few days to count all the baskets. Although I might be confusing that with ballots. Oh, yeah, ballots. It could take a while for Democrats here in Los Angeles to figure out which of their friends secretly voted for Spencer Pratt. Following a late ballot buzzer beater, it appears that Mayor Karen Bass will advance to a runoff against the former reality show villain. 60% of the vote has been counted. If that holds, it means that in November, Los Angelinos are going to have to choose between a woman named Karen and a man who is one. This is insane. We should be very embarrassed. Spencer Pratt should not be a top 2 finalist for mayor. He should be DJing the worst New Year's Eve party in Reno right now. Now, he's unlikely to win. And in fact, he's already filming a reality show about his run for mayor, so he definitely has his priorities in order.
As we all know, Jimmy Kimmel is not funny, and he's absolute scum. Because, again, here we have another celebrity, another person just blaming Spencer Pratt. And let's be clear, he had one thing right. Spencer Pratt shouldn't be running. Yeah, he shouldn't be. He had to run because people like you keep voting for the incompetence of people like Karen Bass, you know, the former communist, who I still think is a communist. People like Karen Bass, they get to continue running the cities into the ground because people like you who are ultra liberal and don't have to live in that keep voting for them. Now, last but not least, I want to show you this billboard that somebody put up because they're calling him Spencer Pratt because they're going after him. They're mad that it's going to be a Pratt Daddy summer, and Spencer Pratt is going to keep calling out the BS and showing everybody that Karen Bass is just a failed mayor.
No, I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up. No, I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up. No, I don't take shit. I got no love.
And this is hilarious because at the end of the billboard, they have him on with a MAGA hat. When has Spencer Pratt even invoked Donald Trump? He hasn't said one thing about Donald Trump. He is a registered Republican running as an independent. He hasn't said one thing about Donald Trump. And the people that are voting for him are not just Republicans. The people that are voting for him are also Democrats, liberals, you know, all these independents. Yeah. That's how he's getting the vote. Republicans are not the majority in that state, and they're absolutely upset that this man is going to give Karen Bass a run for her money. All right, you've seen all of that mess, so let's clean it up. Maybe everything in California is legitimate. Maybe the ballots are legal. Maybe every count is accurate. But if that's true, then why does the process keep looking like a disaster? Why does it take weeks? Why are the ballots arriving by helicopter at night? And why are the voter rolls still being questioned every election? You know this is a problem because every election, it seems that they have to convince half of the country because half of the country is convinced that something isn't right. Our constitutional republic doesn't run on trust. It runs on earned trust. And if Americans are asking questions, politicians should answer them, not shame them for asking, or tell them that just because the person that they want to vote for doesn't have experience. Because when those politicians in California say that, they are doing sheer manipulation. That's what their celebrity friends are doing. That's what the establishment is doing. And I can tell you right now, those mail-in ballots will be 100% for the Democrats. Spencer Pratt won't get one vote. We need to get rid of that process in California. But to do that, you have to get somebody else in. Because when one party rules, nobody wins. However, I want to hear from my other messy conservatives like you. So let me know what you think about all of this mail-in ballot fiasco. You have helicopters flying in. And let me know what you think about Gavin Newsom saying that they have a break glass plan. What the hell is that? Also, let me know what you think about independent journalists like Benny Johnson going out to locations and finding out that nobody is there. It's an empty parking lot and a porta potty. What do you guys think about all the chatter online? Even some liberals saying, yeah, this is shady. And lastly, what do you think about all the celebrities coming out against Spencer Pratt, saying that he's a brat and he doesn't know how to keep his money because he lost $10 million when he was in his 20s? And then somebody rich enough in LA putting up a billboard calling it Spencer Brat, saying that because he lost his money, he will lose yours, and even putting a MAGA hat on him when he hasn't claimed MAGA at all. Democrats are shameless. You guys get down in the comments, like, comment, and subscribe. Also, hit the hype button that puts this video in the algorithm. All you have to do is go to where you would chat and hit the swipe. Also, share this video if you care. I'm your girl, Mika, the Messy Conservative, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Messy conservative, yeah, you heard me right. Talk slick, think quick, kinda on the night.